So, Michael, I am surprised you haven't heard about this, but there was major news last night.
Oh wait,
Which,
is this
what?
is this that they're making a Harry Potter TV series?
Yes, which
Sorry, I did. Yes.
I was saying, oh, there's a big thing to talk about in the cold open, and you just didn't twig until then, which is great. But anyway, yeah. So, Harry Potter reboot is in the works at HBO. Huh. And I liked a tweet who said someone said this is going to completely bomb, and not even for any cultural reasons related to J.K. Rowling. There's just no way your average Harry Potter obsessed person will care about this without the original cast. Honestly, I was shocked when I saw this headline. I thought it was like a parody because they recently The Rock announced a Moana remake, even though the movie came out in 2016. Also, there's a Game of Thrones prequel series being talked about. It's like there's prequels for everything, or adaptions, reimaginings for already existing IP.
I don't see how they'll make it good. I mean, it is a bit weird because it's kind of like, couldn't they have just made like a wizarding school adventure? Because now they're going to have to like manipulate the stories to fit with a TV series, which I just think is going to be very cringe. It would make so much more sense for them to just actually do setting it in another period of time, and then we could have maybe even a third set of villains who are all just Nazis.
Well, here's the thing. Obviously, it all comes back to that woman, J.K. Rowling.
Yes.
And interestingly, I saw this the other week. Rowling's production company, their profits dropped by 74%.
I did see this.
Yes, 74% drop, and then a few days later, this news is announced. Coincidence? This is clearly a cash grab from J.K. Rowling and her company. I think that is undoubtedly the case. That can't be a coincidence. And I think if you're doing if she was doing what you are suggesting, then I don't think as much money would be going into her coffers. Because this will be, even though it won't be as good, and people might stop watching after the first series, like people will watch, nobody's going to like it. That's going to be the case, I think.
My theory is that this show might as well have an invisibility cloak, because nobody's going to watch it. Except it doesn't really work, because people will watch it. But then eventually they'll decide they don't like it, which isn't how the invisibility cloak works.
I think people will have, you're right, people will watch it at first, it'll get high ratings, and then eventually people won't care, because you can't replace the original movies.
Wouldn't it be funny if that's how the invisibility cloak actually worked? Like, the way it actually worked is everyone stared at you, but then eventually nobody cared. I would think it would have been like an inch, like when Harry's like trying to sneak into the forbidden section, and he's like, he puts it on and everyone crowds around and he's like, no, I just gotta wait until they realise I'm actually quite boring and derivative. Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke. And this week we're doing something that I get quite fond of, which is a double whammy of anniversary and related media coming out situation. Obviously sometimes it happens because studios plan it this way, but still sometimes it doesn't. In this case we're looking at the 20-year anniversary of the release of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, but of course we're also celebrating and anticipating the release of, as it is officially known, the Chris Pratt Mario movie. So Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about the Super Mario Bros. Movie, 1993?
The Super Mario Bros. Movie, also known as Super Mario Bros. The movie. I don't actually know what it's known as, but anyway, this is a 1993 fantasy adventure film based on Nintendo's Super Mario video game series, the first feature-length live-action film based on a video game. Did you know that?
But really, wait, did you say the first?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that does make sense because 1993. Okay, cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and this.
What about Tron? Isn't Tron a video game, or is it?
Well, obviously it's not the first one. Otherwise, it would be ahead of this one. But yeah. It kind of makes sense. Of course, video games became prevalent in the 1980s. Then obviously after that, it's time for the most popular video game to get a movie, which is Super Mario Brothers. I like on the poster it says "This ain't no game," which is kind of funny because this is so dissimilar to the actual Super Mario.
That is actually You can't say they didn't warn you.
Yeah, exactly. This is so different to the game. Yeah, there you go. It's right there in the poster, and also like the title. It's like it's so weird. It's like blue steel. That look. It looks like an action movie. I'm gonna use this word later as well, but like brutalist.
Yes.
Which is not again what you would think would be the case when watching a Mario movie.
Yeah. Paul Verhoeven's Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, Michael, this movie was directed by Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel, who never worked again after this. It's based on Mario by Nintendo, and it stars Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, Samantha Mathis, Fisher Stevens, Fiona Shaw, and Richard Edson. The movie was released on May the 28th, 1993. Of course, we are doing this because of its 30th anniversary and because of the release of the new Super Mario Bros. Movie starring Chris Prattio, as I think I said.
As we call him, yes.
Yes, last week. Nintendo are going back at it again. Let's see if it's more successful than the 1993 version. But anyway, Michael, let's talk about the budget for the 1993 version. How much do you think this cost to make?
Like, I don't think it looks good, but I feel like it must have been quite expensive. God. But also in the early 90s, I don't know. Okay, like, I wish I knew how much Jurassic Park cost. But I'm going to guess 50 million.
Okay, you're quite close. It's 42 to 48. So, yeah, you almost nailed that, Michael. And can you tell me what the box office was?
I guess, I mean, I feel like it was probably a flop, but I feel like some people must have watched it. Like, maybe it was a flop in terms of not being well received, but still people watched it because of the novelty, is my theory. So maybe it made like 140 million.
Oh, we have gone over.
Yeah.
We have gone over the budget. Your guess is more than double. The box office was 38.9.
Wow, bad.
So yeah, quite a bit over there, pal. Almost quadruple.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
I should get double. I feel like it's actually been a while since maybe I'm just completely misremembering, but I feel like it has been a while since I've done the over half thing.
You are correct, yes. But basically, Nintendo they gave the producers a creative license because they believed the Mario brand was strong enough for experimentation.
Wow.
And this movie was influenced by Ghostbusters, The Wizard of Oz, and the setting was inspired by the game Super Mario World which came out in 1990 with elements drawn from fairy tales and contemporary American culture. Interesting. Maybe you could draw on the video game, perhaps. I'm not sure.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know when we're just really going to jump into this.
We are in a bit. I'm just going to explain the background because, this Super Mario Bros. Was a critical and commercial failure. And it received criticism because of its plot, inconsistent tone, lack of faithfulness to the source material, but the special effects were praised and the cast was praised as well. And despite appearing on several lists of the worst films ever made, it developed a cult following because, of course, it did. It's just so weird. So with that set up, Michael, did you like Super Mario Brothers?
Well, I didn't hate it. It does get to like an interesting question, which is that old like, what is the need for something to be an adaptation? Because it's like, obviously you said it was criticized for lack of faithfulness to the source material, and boy oh boy is it not faithful to the source material. Having said that, obviously, there's that question of, does that make it a bad film? Now, obviously, it's worth noting, even ignoring that, it's still not a great film. Like, I'm not going to, spoiler alert, I'm not going to come out of this saying it's bad. It's good. But I feel like, as things stand, it's probably just like a weird, mediocre, random sci-fi movie. I say mediocre, I'm talking like, less than average. But yes, that's kind of my opinion, I guess. Like, I think it's less than average, not terrible, vaguely entertaining, but not very.
I think this is terrible.
You think it's terrible?
This is just complete shit. Like, this is honestly like one of the worst things I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Wow,
like, it's just so fucking bad. Like, and I think the fact that it wasn't faithful to the source material plays into that. Because all the time I'm thinking, what the fuck am I watching? Like, that's what I'm thinking. And are they replacing it with something good? No, they're not. Definitely. No, yeah. I was, of course, people know about this movie. I've seen people talk about this movie, but just watching it all the way through, you're just baffled by like, what the hell am I watching? Like, how did you come up with all of this stuff? The plot's just the most basic thing ever, and then you could say, oh, the cast is good, but they get so many characters just like wrong, and it's just so bizarre. Like, why the fuck is Bowser this weird King Koopa guy? Like I
Yeah, that was a weird. Like that was really. Oh god, like so. Again, like I mean, that's kind of the aspect of it. Like I'm not really. Like the fact that it isn't Mario hangs over this so much. I will admit that you know I've like it's movie. It's one of those weird ones because like I wasn't sure if I felt bored, which is like a weird situation. You were like, I was like watching. I was like, am I bored right now? Am I entertained?
No,
I feel like in a way like I was very
worst.
neutral faced during this movie, which maybe is the worst thing you can be.
No, it was the worst combo. This was boring.
I mean, I guess like the thing is like in a way the plot it's not like that difficult to understand. I think you'd probably agree. Like you can work out what the plot
no, I
is.
think it's a very easy plot to
Yeah,
follow.
it's almost like I feel like the plot is almost actually simple. It's simple in almost like a lazy way.
Yes.
Where it's just like all they need to do is get the rock so they can attach
Yeah.
to the meteor, and then like the rest of it is literally just them just walking around.
Yeah,
To be
but
fair, actually, now I'm thinking about like a lot of like the second half of the film is literally just walking around.
walking around or running or like getting into fights. Like the last hour of the movie, and this movie's only like 100 minutes long.
Yeah.
The last hour of the movie is like the Mario brothers. They're trying to get the meteorite or save Daisy, and they're trying to escape King Koopa, and King Koopa's trying to capture the Mario brothers, and he's trying to get the meteorite, and Daisy is captured and she is trying to escape, and there you go. And it's just like scene after scene of something happening because of that. And again, that's why I call it boring, because it's just like so uninteresting to see what's happening. And I know it's a kids movie, I can appreciate that, but I can't believe like a kid would watch this and find this entertaining. Well, I guess because there's a load of stupid shit happening all the time, but there's just like nothing to really get into. I thought King Koopa was going to succeed, and he was going to start taking over Brooklyn, and then the Mario brothers would have to save Brooklyn, but that didn't happen. They couldn't even be bothered to do that.
Like, I was thinking that too, because like they go to Brooklyn. It's like them going to Brooklyn feels so irrelevant.
They turn one guy into a monkey, which is the Scapelli guy, and then they're right back to the dinosaur world.
I mean, so when are we gonna acknowledge the fact that like this kind of dinosaur element is like this big thing here, like that they kind of, and I don't know about you, but this was my thoughts. Actually, we haven't talked about nitpicks.
We'll do nitpicks first. You're right. So how many have you got?
I've got 2.
I've got 3, which is the most I've had for a while. So I'll go first.
Yes.
So, the meteor that killed the dinosaurs hit the Earth in Mexico, Michael. Not in Brooklyn. Did people not know this in 1992?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah.
And the Super Mario Brothers, they aren't actually brothers. Which I just find very unnecessary.
Yeah, he like adopted Luigi.
Yeah, which I don't know why they threw that in, but okay. And so I love this bit. I wonder if this is one of yours because it's just so dumb. So Scapelli, this construction guy, he gets his crew to sabotage this dinosaur site, which is of course where the parallel universes are connected. And as his guys are sabotaging it, like they're literally wearing like a construction uniform that says Scapelli on it. Which I thought was great. Like no disguises, no. Oh, I wonder who did this.
Actually, that's a good point. I kind of like didn't really think about it in those terms, but yeah, obviously that is. I was kind of like, it was one of those situations where like this whole like Scapelli guy, I really didn't take him very seriously because it was kind of like this Scapelli guy. What the hell was happening with him in general? I
mean, they build him up in the beginning of the movie, and again, this is why the plot's so lazy. You're thinking maybe at the end of the movie he's going to come into it somehow. Maybe he's going to make a deal with King Koopa.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I was thinking like maybe there's some kind of like parallel going on where like he's actually like he's got some relationship to King Koopa or something like that. But no,
I didn't think that. Like they'd make a deal to like take over Brooklyn because Scapelli's mad at because he's meant to be this mafia guy. So yeah, like he's mad at the authorities or whatever. You could have written that in, and that ties in with Koopa taking over Brooklyn, and that would have it just wouldn't have been as lazy,
Yeah.
Anyway, give me your nitpicks.
So yeah, my nitpicks are one, when they're like going into the caves or whatever, they drop a light. They drop their light and it doesn't get any darker. Like you can't tell that they've dropped their lights at all. It's just weird. And this one's like a little bit of a weird nitpick because it's like the characters could just not know this, but obviously, technically speaking, humans don't come from apes or monkeys because human beings are apes. There we go. We all like to remember that taxonomically speaking, human beings are apes. And of course, monkeys are a separate member of the family tree, so we didn't evolve from monkeys.
Right, so let's get into this plot slash concept for this Super Mario Brothers movie, which again, it's so crazy, man. So Mario and Luigi are plumbers from Brooklyn. They emphasize the plumbing bit, don't they?
Yeah, like that's actually something I thought was kind of interesting, and almost it was actually the only moment which I found kind of creditable, which is that like it actually matters more that he is a plumber in this. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, I'm not saying that's like a big thing, and you know, I mean, in a way, it's bad in that it's departing from the nature of the source material. But I was like, oh, you know, it's kind of cool that his plumbing skills and his plumbing kind of tool set actually achieve something, and like, or actually, you know, relates to him getting his goals done.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, Mario and Luigi, plumbers from Brooklyn, find themselves in an alternate universe where evolved dinosaurs live in high-tech squalor. Okay, that right there is just like, what the fuck?
It's a good sentence.
Imagine you're like pitching this to Nintendo. We're like, I'm not going to do the Japanese voice.
Good idea.
We're not going to do that. But yeah, you're pitching to Nintendo, and they're like, okay, let's see what these guys have got. What are you going to do with this tremendously popular IP, Mario Brothers? How about an alternate universe where evolved dinosaurs live in high-tech squalor? How about that? Are you digging that, Nintendo? And apparently they said yes. So their only hope to save our universe from invasion by the dino dictator Koopa. Yes, they're the only hope, yes. They also seek to rescue Princess Daisy from this dystopic parallel universe. Dystopic, whatever. And yes, Princess Daisy, not Princess Peach. She's not in it, which I know. Look, I played some Mario Brothers games. I loved Mario Kart on Nintendo DS when I was a kid.
Yes,
and I also
you're a true gamer. We all know that.
Yes, I had it on the Wii as well, Mario Kart, and I've played some of the Mario games, not as frequently as those. But for me, it was Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach and Bowser were the four. They seem like the four most important characters.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's just no Princess Peach in this movie.
Or Bowser.
And fucking Bowser's meant to be like this King Koopa guy who's like Donald Trump in a suit, you know? Donald Trump in a suit. Yes,
Donald Trump, but he's a lizard, even though they're all lizards.
Yes.
I did want to say, actually, just on the subject like the dinosaur thing, do you think like that has anything to do with Jurassic Park? Like I was trying to like, or is it just a coincidence? Because Jurassic Park came out in 1983, right?
Yeah.
So they can't have. Yeah, okay, yeah. I was just thinking to myself I was just wondering. There's no way it could have made sense, but it was really funny.
You answered your own question.
Okay. Yeah, the thing about the like the whole dinosaur thing, I always want to say is it falls into like the category of like feeling like you have to explain things. Like that was my thought, and I can't think. I'm sure it's like an analogy before, but like where you have worlds that are very kind of self-awarely ridiculous. Like we don't need an explanation for why there are mushrooms that make you powerful and things like that. But like there's sometimes where like it's a scientific explanation. The fungus is a living creature and that's why it makes you. And the reason why there's like the dinosaurs around who are like, you know, like crazy scary lizards is because the dinosaurs evolved.
It's screenwriters wondering that the audience just won't get it. And they have to explain everything.
Why is the dinosaur? Why does that guy look like a lizard?
Like it's a crazy concept on its own. But yeah, like I do you know what I saw today, which was the new trailer for Barbie? With Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, and it's clearly set in this world, which is, you know, like this Barbie world, and the movie trusts its audience to understand. Oh, this is a world. This is different from, you know, normal world, the normal world that we live in. I feel like movies in the 90s and maybe the 2000s as well, but yeah, they had to relate like these weird fantastical concepts to. Let's make sure we have some real normal world elements in there. Okay, so how do we get to this weird world where, you know, Mario and the Koopas and the Goombas, okay, well, they have to go through this dimension. You know, there's a dimension and then there's a portal. Okay, so therefore we can ground this movie because the audiences need to have that grounding, otherwise they're just going to think this is really weird. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do. And like, again, I wish, like, it does feel like one of those things where, and obviously, I mean, Barbie's like a counterexample, but yeah, I'm sure I've like seen things before where it's been like some kind of element from a particular series, and then when it gets adapted, like the scientists feel like they need to. The filmmakers feel like they need to come up with that scientific explanation for it. But yeah, like that aspect of it being something so the audience can understand it more. I think that's true. This
fantastical world that exists on its own. There has to be a real world element somehow.
Yes, it's kind of like I would use the word a reference point. You need like the real world as a reference point so we can understand what is it that makes this world we're going into. In what way is it different from
No,
our real world? And
I
like,
don't think it's.
what's the connection?
I don't think it's that. I just think they'd find it too weird.
Yeah,
Like
that could be it.
the screenwriters, the audiences, normal audiences will find this too weird. So we got to establish, a normal world, first, so they can get invested. I just want to emphasize this before we move on. This movie is just so different and disconnected from the video game, in so many ways.
They didn't
And
have a soundtrack.
Yes, the characters, the plot, the setting. I wrote this down. I think this is one of the worst adaptations ever, and it was the first video game adaptation. And again, it maybe showed the struggles with adapting a video game. Because I admit, adapting a video game like Mario is quite tough because it's a guy that jumps on mushrooms to get gold coins. And it's pretty. How do you make a movie out of that? But you went so far away from the original source material that it doesn't even matter that you try to make it make sense, because there's a point where you can go so far away from something that it just means that you're watching what's happening on the screen, and you're just like, how the fuck did you come up with this? What the hell am I watching? How is this a Mario adaptation?
Yeah.
And so many things make so little sense as well.
Yeah. The thing is, this also isn't one of those situations. Sorry, because sometimes you get situations where it's like they come up with it's almost like you get the impression that they came up with an independent idea and then they like slap the adaptation thing onto it. That's
that
the
wasn't
thing
the case here.
Yeah, it wasn't like they were like, hey, I've got this really great idea about this dinosaur kingdom, and then they just slap Mario on it. No, like they were trying to do an adaptation.
I do wonder I did wonder how this was conceived, and Wikipedia answered this for me. But anyway, let's get into the script now, Michael, for this movie. Let's go through it. So, following the impact of a meteorite into the Earth 65 million years ago, the universe is split into two parallel dimensions. Surviving dinosaurs escape into the new dimension, evolving into a humanoid race and founding the city of Dino Hatton. Which is great. Could get it.
Am I weird? I didn't actually know it was called Dino. Like, when did they say it was called Dino Hatton?
Like a couple of times.
Okay, well, yeah, maybe I just maybe I mentally blocked it from my mind.
You got Manhattan.
Yes.
And you got Dino Hatton.
Yeah, I suppose it does make sense because it's like man. Yeah, okay, I got you.
It's important to point out that Manhattan is not a city; it's a borough of New York. So there's a bit of a difference there. Anyway, in 1973, a large egg and a rock are left at a Catholic orphanage. Hey, look, at least it's Catholic, right? Italians are Catholics, so
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah,
right. The egg hatches into a human baby. Right. So this is the first thing I put down. Whoever came up with this premise must have been on crack. That's what I put.
Because eggs crack.
Yeah. Well, I should have really put mushrooms because of all the mushrooms in Mario. Yeah, but I put crack, and hey, maybe
you're just gonna have to live with that.
Yeah. It's such a weird idea. Like, you couldn't just make a simple Mario movie, could you? Again, it would be hard to do, but you have to include alternate dimensions, dinosaurs evolving into humans, which we'll get to. So, do you want to know, Michael, how this was conceived?
Was it conceived from an egg? No, tell me.
Okay, that was great. So, the concept of a parallel. Oh, God, I've said that word so many times. It's quite hard to say, isn't it?
Parallel. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, be thankful that you don't work at Nintendo. I imagine the people there have a lot of trouble pronouncing parallel.
Oh, wow. Right.
Parallel.
Okay. That's more Chinese, I think.
I know, yeah.
Right. So the concept of a parallel universe inhabited by dinosaurs was inspired by Dinosaur Land from the recently released Super Mario World. So there you go. There was this land of the dinosaurs, and I don't know, but I imagine it was Mario. He's doing all this jumping stuff. And he's jumping maybe, between like dinosaurs. He has to jump over like, I don't know, a Stegosaurus.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. And like, there's a pterodactyl in the air that could hit him. And yeah, like in the background, there's volcanoes and
Well, I'm pretty sure. So the Mario games probably. I think like the Mario games have like been a bit crazy sometimes. I'm sure like the Mario games have gone to some strange places. So yeah.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. But I don't know like how you would look at this. Yeah. This and think, oh yes, that would be perfect for our Super Mario movie. Like, okay, yeah,
makes sense. Yeah.
The parallel dimension was meant to be a whole world with a reptile point of view, dominated by aggressive primordial behavior and basic instincts. Why? Like, okay. While Morton considered, this is one of the directors, considered the ecological and technological consequence of a dinosaur society that holds fossil fuels sacred.
Oh wow, this sounds like this is great. I love this. This is what we needed.
It's
like Mad Max.
Yeah. Well, we'll get onto that, how they need Earth's resources later.
Yeah.
Joff noted, who also wrote or directed the movie, I don't know, it's a wonderful parody of New York and heavy industry. Is it? We call it new brutalism.
Wow.
Which, of course, I mentioned before the movie poster. It had a brutalist aesthetic to it. Yes. So that's the thing. These guys weren't like, the studio didn't give them notes on like how they had a vision, and the studio didn't give them notes, and it became this weird thing. These guys had this idea for this movie from the start.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't, anything but them, basically. And, like, the fact that they were like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a brutalist, like, aesthetic, like a great parody of New York. And it's like, what are you even thinking, man? What about the mushrooms and the Super Mario bouncing? Oh, it's me! Whoa! Well,
Yeah, like they just that's really funny. They were just like, they didn't know anything about video games. They're just like, well, okay. So what's it? They're like, hey, I want you to make a Mario movie, and then they're like, yeah, sure, we'll make a movie for you. Like, did you hear the first thing I said?
yeah, sure, we'll make a Super Mario movie for you. What do you feel about the concept of new brutalism? And just the Nintendo executives were like, what about the gold coins and the pipes?
Yeah.
No. What kids are really after these days is a parody of New York City, and considering the ecological and technological consequences of a dinosaur society that holds fossil fuels sacred. That's what I think. That's what 8-year-old kids going to see this movie. That's what they're really interested in.
Yes.
Screenwriters were tasked with balancing comedy with a darker tone. Bennett said, "Ghostbusters was the model. We were aiming towards funny, but kind of weird and dark."
Okay.
When I think of like Mario video games, I don't think of Ghostbusters. Like, they're not horror video games, are they?
No, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, there's like they're not. It's not really about the supernatural. It's about, and also like, I mean, it's the other problem with that is that the Ghostbusters, like, one of the things about it is it's very grounded. So it's like a question of like, Ghostbusters is basically what are the kind of ins and outs of running a real world business interfacing with the supernatural. So like, that's probably where the I guess where the logic of let's make everything real came from.
Yeah, the thing is, in the video game, Mario isn't this normal plumber. I mean, that's the thing. It's a very basic fucking concept with him bouncing and getting coins. But the thing is, he's not like, he exists in this world, and he's not like from the human world.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware. So again, you're the concept of Mario. I guess you could do that. You could have him be in the real world. I think that's what this new Mario Brothers movie is doing, because I think he comes through a portal. I think I saw that.
Yeah, that makes sense
in the trailer. But again, you can handle it a lot differently to how it was handled, and you don't really need to emphasize like how this movie did. Like, oh, they're normal plumbers from Brooklyn. Like, you don't really need to harp on that so much. And it'll be interesting to see if the new Super Mario Brothers movie does that. But yeah, in general, it's just I just read their reasoning for how this movie was created, and I'm just thinking like, why, how, like, what were you thinking?
Yeah. Like, there is that definitely is an aspect to it. Like, it is just mind-boggling. And you're kind of like, why did they come up with this idea? I mean, like, some of it. I mean, it was kind of cute watching John Leguizamo. It is. Wait.
That is him.
Yeah, it is him. Good. Okay. Good. So, because I was gonna do the whole Michael Pena, John Leguizamo, who can tell the difference situation. But yeah, basically, watching him, like talk to that woman, Princess Peach, who's not Princess Peach, like, and try and go on a date. Like, I mean, that's the kind of funny thing. Like,
are you not aware of Daisy?
I know she's called Daisy.
Yeah, but do you know she's also in the video games?
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah. Have you not played Mario games before?
The only game I've played in the Mario is the original version, and I've only played that on a PC emulator.
Yes.
So yeah, I haven't actually. I was never really a Nintendo kid, which mostly I regret because of Zelda. But yeah, basically, what I'll say is that, like, it is interesting because actually, now I'm thinking about, like, there is like a nugget of some like entertaining stuff. Where what I mean by that is, like, Danny DeVito and John Leguizamo and like this Daisy, they do have a they have like a kind of an authentic chemistry.
Michael, what did you go back a sec? Do you realize what you just said?
What did I say?
Go back. What did you just say?
I said Danny DeVito, John Leguizamo, and Daisy have an authentic chemistry?
Yeah, it's Michael. It's not Danny DeVito.
Wait, what?
Danny DeVito does not play Mario.
the guy who plays Mario is the guy from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right?
Yeah, and that's not.
And that's not Danny DeVito.
No, it's Bob Hoskins.
And you probably mentioned like Bob Hoskins, and like this whole time, oh my god, that's really funny. Do you know, I've been thinking, I'm not kidding here, my entire life. But to be fair, like I will say, like I saw. I think what it was is I saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit when I was a kid, and I just didn't tell the difference then. And I was like now I'm thinking about it, like, yeah, I suppose Danny DeVito did seem a little bit weird in this movie.
You know, interestingly, I was looking at the casting. Danny DeVito they were interested in getting Danny DeVito to play Mario, but it's clearly not Danny DeVito.
It's clearly not. Can I like be honest and just say like in my head, genuinely, like I feel like this whole time I've been thinking Bob Hoskins was just Danny DeVito doing a voice. So wait, what does Danny DeVito look like? Oh my god, Danny DeVito.
You've not seen Always Sunny?
Okay, so like, I mean, they look so Danny DeVito has like a wider head, and I guess he's probably shorter.
Yeah, he is. That's quite crucial. He is shorter, and I don't think they look that similar. To be honest with you, I think they look a fair bit different.
Okay, that is really funny. Yeah, and like, I mean, there's no excuse. To be fair, I will say actually in my defense, when you read out like the starring and like all of that information, I can't really blame myself for It's my moment where I recharge.
So you thought Danny DeVito was in this movie?
Yeah, I thought Danny DeVito was in this movie.
Oh my god, I can't believe that. That is maybe one of the most embarrassing things you've said.
I know, that's really funny.
It's up there with when you thought God's Not Dead made 400 million at the box office.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're going to talk about Bob Hoskins later in terms of how he liked this role or how he didn't like this role. And talk about Mario and Luigi. But actually, yeah, let's talk about it now. What was the point you were making in general, actually, before you got that Danny DeVito thing?
Oh, I was just gonna say like that. Actually, like I do like the like I feel like that there is like a chemistry there in that, like it's not like the characters are just boring and things like that. Like I feel like just the brief kind of like human moments, I was like yeah, like that's fine. Like I feel some investment.
It's good acting, honestly. Like it's decent acting. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what really saves it from being like an utter disaster. It's still very bad, but it could have been a lot worse. I think if they got a worse cast. And yeah, obviously, Toad is in the original Mario game. Or I'm not sure the original. He's in a lot of Mario games, and so yeah, you have Toad in the original video game, who again is like this mushroom guy, not at all similar to the guy in the movie, who's like 6'3". Like, and Toad's very small, and at least you have Yoshi's a dinosaur. At least you have a dinosaur in this one.
Actually, Yoshi is cute. Can I say that? Can I say Yoshi's cute?
I liked using Yoshi in Mario Kart, but there's Waluigi and Wario, of course, the evil versions of Luigi and Mario. They don't show up, and I'm sure there's some other characters. There's Dry Bones as well.
Top Mario characters.
Yeah, Dry Bones was very good. I seem to remember in Mario Kart. He had a very good selection of karts.
Yes. Oh, who doesn't show up? But I suppose this makes sense. Like Donkey Kong. Oh yeah, that's like a separate thing. But then also
there was
King
Donkey
Boo.
Kong.
I know King Boo.
Oh, King Boo. Yeah, he was in that. Yeah. Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong. So let's get into Mario and Luigi, because 20 years later, after Daisy is dropped off at that Catholic church, Mario and Luigi Mario. Do you love that, Michael? Their last names are both Mario.
Yeah, is that like a thing in the games? I thought it might be, but it's not. Okay, yeah.
No, it's
made up. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know why that was in there. They work as plumbers in Brooklyn and are close to being driven out of business by mafioso Anthony Scapelli's construction company. So you think like they're gonna, Scapelli's gonna get a comeuppance? Well, he gets turned into a monkey, but like the comeuppance would be more earned. Like he'd do something at the end, and he'd play a bigger part in the plot. Again, I thought that was like just very obvious, but they couldn't even be bothered to do that. So Mario is played by Bob Hoskins, and it's interesting, Michael, because you said, "Oh, this is Danny DeVito playing Mario." Well, Bob Hoskins would probably wish for Danny DeVito to play Mario.
Yes,
and like this is why again I'm surprised by the fact that you didn't know it was Bob Hoskins, because there is this very famous interview with Bob Hoskins where he talks about playing Mario, and it's kind of hilarious. So I'll play it now.
I didn't even know it was a game. It was my kids that told me. What's your next film? I'm doing Super Mario Brothers. Oh, that's the game. Oh, what? Yeah, and this is you. And I saw this thing jumping up and down. I thought, I used to play King Lear. I didn't even know.
I used to play King Lear.
I used to play King Lear. Yeah. So what's your next movie? Yeah, he didn't even know it was a game. He didn't know what this thing was. There's this other great interview where he talks about the fact that he suffered many physical injuries while on set as well.
That is very embarrassing for him.
That is embarrassing. But also, I looked at this Bob Hoskins Q&A on the Guardian website. I was scrolling through Wikipedia and I came to this, and this was from June 2011, an interview with Bob Hoskins. By the way, he says, the person I most despise, Tony Blair. He's done more damage than Thatcher.
Oh, I can agree with that.
Sounds like
That's
Bob
good.
Hoskins.
That's pretty based, yeah.
Bob Hoskins might be an anti-Semite.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes.
Terrible.
Yes. Anyway, what's the worst thing anyone's said to you? This is his answer. Aren't you Danny DeVito?
That's really funny.
Okay, so this is one of the questions. There's like a series of short questions the Guardian person asks Hoskins. So this is where we get into the good stuff. What is the worst job you've ever done? Hoskins says, Super Mario Brothers. What has been your biggest disappointment? Super Mario Brothers. If you could edit your past, what would you change? I wouldn't do Super Mario Brothers. I don't think he likes this movie. I think he kind of regrets being in it. And I think he, right from the start, he regretted it. And yeah, I guess he felt vindicated after the movie came out. So,
yeah. So yeah, sorry, I'm looking at some of the other stuff he did. Apparently, he was in the film Spice Up Your Life, where he played Ginger Spice's disguise. So apparently that was more enjoyable for him, which is fun. I'm happy for him.
Probably, yeah. Do you think Bob Hoskins will be better than Chris Pratt, or Chris Pratt will he be better than Bob Hoskins?
I really do think everyone made fun of Chris Pratt. And but to be fair, it's worth noting neither of them have done the Italian accent. So we've never seen, and I think it shows it's just never going to happen. You're never going to have a serious film where Mario is going to be like, "It's a me, Mario." So with that said, I guess I suppose I think in a way actually they'll both be quite good for the films they were in. Because to be fair, I do think Bob Hoskins, for being in the film he was in, he was probably good. He was good for this film, right? Because he kind of seemed miserable and annoyed the whole time, which is how I would be. Whereas conversely, I imagine that the other film, the animated film, is going to be fun and even if it's not going to be the best quality, it's probably going to be action-packed and colourful and things like that. And I imagine Chris Pratt, he's quite a kind of dynamic, big personality. He's probably going to be really good for that role. And it does make me think, imagine how weird it would be if they switched. So you just had the Bob Hoskins Mario in the animated one, and you had Chris Pratt's Mario Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
Let's go to the fucking Mushroom Kingdom, Luigi, in that Brooklyn accent. That's the thing. Yeah. It's the same character from Who Played Roger Rabbit, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Bob Hoskins. Yeah. But let's talk about Luigi now, because the age gap between him and Mario is 20 years, and the thing is, Mario looks a bit like Mario. And we've talked about how Bowser doesn't even appear, and Princess Peach isn't even in the movie. Well, Bowser, he turns into a dinosaur at the end, but it's so different to the Bowser that we're aware of in the games. But Luigi as well looks nothing like Luigi either. And
yes, he looks even more different, really.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's not true. Sorry,
yes.
He doesn't look as different. Yeah, but Luigi definitely he doesn't have a mustache. They're both supposed to have mustaches.
Luigi is the goofy, taller one. I don't know if he's younger or older, but I know why John Leguizamo was cast. To be a love interest for Daisy and to appeal to kids more because he's younger. But yeah, his character just doesn't make sense. He isn't Luigi. He doesn't look anything like him. He's 20 years younger than Mario. It's again, I get the casting decision, but yeah, it's just again really wrong and just off in a big way. But it's not the worst thing by far, but it still needs to be pointed out. Also, Mario and Luigi, they don't wear clothes that are similar to their character clothes in the video game until later on in the movie, which I would think would be a really easy thing to do, right? For the vast majority of the movie, they aren't wearing the red and blue clothes. There.
Yes, yeah, oh yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, sorry, yeah, because it takes them a while to for it actually to feel very Mario-y. That's a weird phrase.
But there's no point in why not just have them wear those clothes from the start. They're plumbers. That can be their uniform.
Yeah. Also, when you get the you get the little jumping boots introduced, I was expecting that to be way more of a thing. It's really not. It's kind of shocking. They introduced the jumping boots, and I'm okay, fine. I guess Mario does jump quite high. I guess they need an excuse for him to jump so high. But then I'm well, he doesn't really do anything with it.
They're they play the video game for 30 minutes and they're well, okay, I guess we've got all we need. Oh yeah, let's
Yeah.
have him jump like once. Also, like you said, Michael, they're both from Brooklyn. I can kind of understand that, but I think if they were both like Italian immigrants working in New York, that would have been that would have been crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
and they can sound a bit more like Mario, like it's me, like instead of just like Brooklyn Mario. Which that's the thing. Like, I can't imagine kids going to see this movie. Like, they love Mario. You're like, oh, I love playing as Mario in this video game, and they
Yeah.
just see Bob Hoskins, and it's like it kind of looks like him, but it's like the accent is just not there. It doesn't seem like warm and like friendly and like
It makes me think about like Krusty the Clown, where it's like you're like I can imagine like kids going to see like Krusty the Clown because they're really excited, and then like Bob Hoskins is like what Krusty would actually be like.
Yes. Yes. So Luigi meets Daisy, an NYU archaeology student who shows him she's been excavating for dinosaur bones under the Brooklyn Bridge, of course. There we witness Scapelli's men sabotaging it by leaving the water pipes open. Mario and Luigi fix it, but Iggy and Spike, henchmen and cousins of Cooper, I don't know if they're in the game. I hadn't heard of these guys. I don't know what they're based on. I should look that up. So Cooper, the king of the other dimension, kidnap Daisy, and the brothers pursue them through an interdimensional portal to Dino Hatton. Okay, so we've covered the weird fucking concept of the parallel universe and the portal and everything. You know how stupid that is. But let's talk about Dino Hatton, the place where they end up. Again, this feels very 1990s. Like, you build a whole set, you know, for this fantasy world, since they can't use CGI.
Reminds me of like the whole like Gotham in the Tim Burton
Yes.
Batman's being literally just like completely made from sets.
Yes, it's very 1990s. Like, a lot of weird costumes, a lot of weird smoke coming out from every sewer.
Yes.
I like.
I wonder if
Mario-
they just like I bet they borrowed from the Gotham set. They were really happy when Joel Schumacher came along. It was like, I'm going to change everything. Don't worry, guys. You might as well just get rid of all of these gothic, miserable, industrial things.
Well, of course, Schumacher came several years after this movie.
Yeah, I know, but I like to imagine that he expressed his interest. Come on, let's assume.
Okay, so I like Mario's joke about this being the Bronx, which I don't know. That's the kind of
I
thing-
thought that was quite funny. It's
Yeah,
kind of like I like to imagine a lot of New Yorkers are very insular, like in a kind of like they don't go remotely outside of like not even they don't go outside of their neighborhood. That's how I imagine New Yorkers.
They have really negative opinions of other neighborhoods that are close to them.
Yes.
Yeah, and I like that joke. So at this point in the movie, I just feel like there's a load of weird cuts everywhere. Like, the direction isn't that good. Like, there are a lot of
I
action.
found it a bit hectic.
Yeah, there are a lot of action scenes, again, hectic, a lot of bad cuts. And the movie isn't that long. You could have, like, made things make sense a bit more. But anyway, whatever. They get to Dino Hat and everything's crazy. Again, quite far away from the video game. But anyway, Mario and Luigi see Toad, a good-natured guitarist, devolve into a Goomba, a semi-humanoid dinosaur. As
Yes, this is another explanation for things, which we love.
Yes, again, a punishment for a protest. So, firstly, again, Toad, we're basically pointing this out for every character, is nothing like the Toad in the video game.
Yes.
Like, why is
He doesn't even have a puffy hat.
Why is he a 40-year-old guitarist? Why? And the Goombas... Right, this is the thing. Okay, let's talk about the evolution thing first. Right, Dino Hatton. There's lizards or dinosaurs. They have evolved into humans. Just a fucking crazy idea in the first place. You know, I don't know if you think that, but it's just like...
No, yeah, I agree. It's crazy.
Yeah. They can also be de-evolved as well, and also evolve into smarter humans.
Oh yeah, I was going to write something actually, and I didn't know if this counts as a nitpick, but it's something I thought about. Why is it that only the dinosaurs know about the existence of multiple dimensions? Because like, if the logic is like there's two different dimensions and one's for like dinosaurs and one's for humans, you kind of feel like it doesn't really make much sense that the dinosaurs are perfectly aware of the reality of both these dimensions and the mechanics of how they work. Just in terms of like, if we were to, and maybe they're not really, they don't necessarily say this explicitly, but it just feels like there's supposed to be kind of a parallel between the two dimensions.
I've got a logical explanation. Yeah, right.
I love that.
Which again, it's something that the movie would go into. Okay, so like when the winter comes, like the dinosaurs, because they're cold-blooded, they have to get warm, so they go underground. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Yeah. How about that?
That's good. Yeah.
So that's how they found this portal. Anyway, so or the humans, because they're still reptiles, even though they look like humans, which again is fucking stupid, but whatever. And yeah, obviously. Cooper, I was going to point this out, like he evolves his goons to make them smarter. I don't know why he doesn't do that in the first place.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like he comes out of it as if it's like a novel idea, and I'm like, does that make sense?
To be fair, they do seem to become like revolutionary, like, you know.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of, this film's pretty woke. It's like, you know, basically, hey, you know, did you know that basically if you're smart, you will smash capitalism?
Yeah, I know. Even though they're replacing a dictator with a monarch, but let's forget that. Anyway, yeah, the thing is, these humans look exactly like human beings, which you may think is obvious, but the thing is, they're reptiles. Like they're humans.
There's one thing with like the tongue that the guy does.
Yeah,
I was like, that should be what it's always like. There should be like more obviously lizardy, and that doesn't even require like super special effects, just some like prosthetic stuff.
Well, I was gonna say you could just put some makeup on them to make them look like they've got more scaly skin.
Yeah, or they could have contacts. I mean, I don't know. I know some actors don't like wearing contacts, but you know,
it's the Super Mario Brothers movie. Come on, like you gotta
pull the stops out.
Yeah. Like you gotta go to these crazy artistic lengths when playing a character in the Super Mario Brothers movie. Yeah, wear contacts, but just have the makeup people put like make them seem like they've got scaly skin. Again, just make them look a bit more reptile, because it's so weird to look at this guy and be like, oh yeah, that's a reptile. What, like you gotta differentiate the humans from the human mammals from the human reptiles. There we go. Right, I mentioned Toad developed into a Goomba. Do you know what Goombas look like, Michael? Of course,
they're brown mushrooms.
Yeah, and they've got big heads and small feet, right, or small legs. Their body is small.
So literally the opposite.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. It's like, wait, I know what Goombas are. They have, for some reason, given them tiny heads and massive bodies, like you say, the complete opposite to the video game. Just why? Why would you make them just the opposite to the Mario games? It's so. Imagine a child like trying to work this out. Like, wait, those are the Goombas? I know Goombas. That's not what Goombas look like. Some of the decisions are just baffling, like that, and it does distract you from the movie, because every time you see a Goomba, you're like, why the hell aren't you?
Is that a Goomba?
Yeah, and also they look so fucking stupid as well. Like, it's not. Yeah,
they're like do.
Okay, it's not just that it's completely different from the video games. They look so fucking stupid and like funny and ridiculous in a bad way. Let's talk about Daisy now, Michael, because she is descended from dinosaurs, and the long lost princess of the other dimension. Her father was overthrown as king by Koopa, and her mother, the queen, was the one who took her to Brooklyn. What a backstory! And I guess that's why she's interested in dinosaurs, because she was one.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, I think my point was, make all the reptiles look like they've got scaly skin. Maybe Daisy wouldn't have scaly skin because she was brought up on Earth.
Yeah, that could make sense. I mean, of course, the alternative is they could just not have the people be evolved reptiles.
That would probably be better. Just bin this whole fucking dinosaur thing. How about that? Just bin it.
As far as trying to make the best out of a bad situation, your idea isn't terrible.
Come on, it's May 1993. The American public aren't going to be infatuated with dinosaurs until a month later.
That is, the timing there is really interesting.
So let's talk about the villain, Michael, King Koopa. Again, as we mentioned, he doesn't look anything like Bowser. Understandably, because no one looks like anyone, or no one looks like who they're meant to be in this movie. So Iggy and Spike realize that they've lost Daisy's rock, in it, which is a meteorite fragment that Koopa needs to merge with the worlds, believing only Daisy can do so because of her royal heritage. That comes up later. Okay, but here's what I don't understand. There's already a portal that exists. You can already go through that portal, can't you?
Yes. Yeah, you can. Yeah. So.
Why do you need?
Yeah, I guess like they need to have it so more people go through.
Is there a limit to how many people can get through? It kind of seems like you can just go through.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, look, if I was a screenwriter, like, I would like come up with an explanation there, because that's a situation where you need an explanation. You don't need to merge the dimensions to do that if you've got a portal. You can just walk through and then start blasting them.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Although it's worth noting, apes can, as we know from Joe Rogan, they can literally tear your face off. So if they turned everybody into apes, I personally wouldn't like to be on a planet with 7 billion, chimpanzees.
That's the thing. The whole movie is obsessed with getting this meteorite, or Koopa's obsessed with getting this meteorite piece, and you can already do what you want to do.
Yeah. Like
how are Iggy and Spike, his two henchmen, getting through into the Brooklyn world? The human Brooklyn world. How are they doing that? They're just going through the portal. Why? I don't get why you can't do that. Again, it's just a massive flaw. Which again, it's a fucking dumb movie, but you think they'd have at least come up with something. Also, the reason why Koopa wants to do it is his world is a desert, apart from Dino Hatton. And that isn't established early enough, to be honest. Because I was wondering for ages, like, why does he want to merge the worlds? Like, there's some stupid references to, like, resources and water, which were really ham-fisted when Mario and Luigi are walking through Dino Hatton at the start. And it's like, you need fucking Koopa to spin that globe right at the start. Because I was just wondering, like, so all the world is like a desert apart from Dino Hatton? Okay, well, that's kind of stupid as well, to be honest with you. How did it get like that?
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking, like, they have, like, this element of, like... I was like thinking, like, so why is their world so much worse? And like, are they able to overcome? Because like, and also they have like all of this technology. And it's like, so
Yeah.
why is their technology so good? But then they got all this other stuff going on.
I know. Was there an apocalypse? Like, well, again, mentioning fossil fuel extraction. Did this race of dinosaur humans? Did they pump too much CO2 into the atmosphere? I don't see how they would have done a worse job of it than humans. Like, that's the thing. This movie is kind of saying, hey, look, humans, well, we're mammals, and God, if we were reptiles, we'd really fuck the world even more than we already have. So, thank God we're mammals, right, guys? God,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like we Al Gore, he doesn't know how lucky he is that things could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, things could have been a lot worse if we were reptiles. Yeah, this is really anti-reptile propaganda, and like
it is
pro-mammal propaganda, really, if you think about it.
Yeah,
anyway,
like it's basically this is racism against reptiles, and if reptiles were in charge, then everything would be awful.
They fucked the world up even more than we have. Yeah, which I would say, hey, I would like to see that. That is something I'd like to see.
Yeah, see how anyone could possibly manage that. Yeah. Honestly, if they manage it, well done.
Yeah, well done. Seriously, because the amount of CO2 we pump into the atmosphere, I would like to see a reptile version of the human race do better than that. Anyway, so, okay. I just put, for this next section of the movie, I just put weird. That was my title. This nightclub scene. Mario and Luigi try to get the meteorite back from Big Bertha, which is meant to be like a fish, I think, in the original Mario game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know anything about this Big Bertha character.
Yeah, and how does Mario get the meteorite back, Michael?
Something about like he dances with her, right? This is a very weird scene. Yes, he dances with her, and like he's kind of grinding up against her, and then he steals the necklace from her.
Yeah, but how does he steal it?
He kind of. I'm just trying to think. Does he hug her? He like gets up close to her, kind of
his face
into her boobs,
into her cleavage. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, in like a huggy way. That's kind of what I meant by hug. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what
I neglected to mention the specifics of the cleavage, and I apologize.
Well, that's what you expect from a Mario movie, right?
Yes.
Mario
get in that cleavage, Mario.
Shoving his head into some cleavage. Yeah, great. Again, it's so far from the Mario video games. And this was the point in the movie where I was really like, what am I watching, man? Like, whose idea was this? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, when you think of the bright, sunny, happy Mario video games, and there's this like dark, dingy nightclub like that Mario and Luigi are in, it's just you agree, right? It's just so far.
Yeah, it would be. I would like to see someone make like a Mario game, but like but it's like a video game tie-in to this film. So it's like basically all the mechanics of Mario, but you've got to like deal with this. Yeah. Like this is how it works. This is the mechanics you've got to engage with.
So Koopa also tries to get it on with Daisy, of course, Michael, calling her a little girl. Saying,
of course he does.
Have you ever been kissed by a little? Yeah, it's just, of course, this guy's meant to be creepy, but like you're making it creepy, and then it should be.
Yeah.
It ought to be, then it should be. And
yes, I was thinking that, like, and it's like it was unnecessary. Like, it kind of just didn't have like it. I feel like the 90s were very horny. That's kind of an impression. I guess like a lot of the time. To be fair, most times I guess they are horny. But yeah, like that it's completely unnecessary for him to be like trying to get things on with her.
This is meant to be a kids movie. It's like it'd be fine if he was like threatening in a non-sexual way, because he is like doing it in a sexual way. It's like, okay, like why did you write that in? I guess it is Hollywood, like I guess lizards having sex with little girls is part and parcel of that particular place on Earth, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Because it's the desert.
Write what you know.
So, like, basically, Jewish people are lizards. But, no. So...
Also, Mario says at one stage, I'll break every bone in your body, then kill you.
Oh, yeah. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. It's such a disconnect. There is this Koopa elevator scene, which, again, is not... It's weird, but not in, like, how the fuck is this... in a Mario.
Yeah, like when he makes them just dance.
Yeah, like
Like
it's
that's
kind
their
of
plan to escape.
it's kind of stupid, and it's kind of more fitting in what I'd expect from a movie like this, but it's still very weird. Anyway, so Cooper's girlfriend Lena obtains the rock, but dies merging the worlds. Oh, how sad. The world separates again with Mario, Luigi, and Daisy remove the fragment from the meteorite, and Cooper pursues them. Mario and Luigi obtain devolution guns and use them to defeat Cooper by devolving him into primeval slime.
Love
so
that.
a lot of shit happens at this stage. The meteorite just fully becomes this MacGuffin. Like, everybody wants it. It's kind of like with Ant-Man and the Wasp, like, everyone wants the case. Just a movie we watched recently. Which
Yes. That was fun.
Yeah.
Like, just the Get the Thing movie.
Yes, get the thing at the end of the movie thing, yes. And yeah, everybody is being rescued, including Mario's random Brooklyn girlfriend as well. Remember her
Yes,
character?
yeah. Like, I found that really funny. Like, what's she doing here? What are you
It's just
doing, dude?
It's just a complete fucking mess, man. As the plot's not a mess because just there is no plot, but it's just everything that's going on. It's just so fucking stupid. And again, King Koopa, this guy's meant to be Bowser, so it makes sense that he goes back to being a dinosaur. I don't know why he couldn't have been like a dinosaur from the beginning. That would have been better because it's Bowser. But I don't know why he's turned into slime after. Maybe because the kids in the 90s like slime. Nickelodeon. All of
Yeah,
that.
I feel like there was like a time when slime was really where it was at.
Slime was where it was at. So, Daisy's father is restored as king, and the citizens celebrate and immediately destroy anything with Cuba's likeness. Daisy decides to stay in Dino Hatton and kisses Luigi goodbye as she opens the portal for him and Mario to return to Brooklyn. So, Daisy's father is a fungus. We haven't mentioned that yet. And which is kind of related to a mushroom. Mario and the Mushroom Kingdom. Okay, like that's kind of there, but it's still quite weird. And I don't know, man, those scenes are just are quite weird when like Daisy and Mario and Luigi are all talking to this like prosthetic like fungus, and I can't imagine what the actors felt like when filming that. Just like, especially Bob Hoskins, because he's like, "What the fuck am I doing?" Given what he said before, of course. Cooper dying means that Daisy's father is back to being human, of course, because that's he doesn't need to be put in the evolution machine. Which again, I thought that was going to happen. They couldn't even be bothered to do that.
Yes, I will say it was funny that like his whole kingdom hated him, so it's kind of like, I don't know, I guess I don't really know if it's like good or bad. I guess it just made it less complex, that it's like, oh, conveniently everyone also hates him, so he's the bad guy, but he's also hated by his own people as well, so well done. This
in terms of this movie being lazy, you don't get into the background of like Dino Hatton. How did it get to the stage where the whole world's a desert apart from just this one area?
Yeah,
like how was that the case? And what did the fucking king before King Koopa, Daisy's father, what did he do about that? Like, that's the thing, like King Koopa, he isn't responsible for the world being as it is. And honestly, if you think about it, like, he's just trying to do his best to, like, because the people there, obviously, they need more resources. That's made clear. Like, it's a kind of it's a dystopia. That's what it is. And the movie describes itself as that. Like, he wants to get, to the human world. So, his people can, like, have more resources, can have water, can, like, go outside, into the sun, which apparently Dino Hatton, there's no sun for some reason. And it wants to get them like some nicer food, more land, more space. That's what he's trying to do. What the fuck is Daisy's dad doing at the king?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because that's it. It's not just convenient that they all hate him, but also he doesn't seem to be that bad to them. Like, he's not, like, basically the reason they all seem to hate him when the only group he presents a threat to is the humans, who have way more resources and basically are living it up.
And Daisy's father
is a dickhead.
Daisy's father deliberately, well, I imagine Daisy's mother and father, made sure that the meteorite piece stayed with Daisy, and they brought Daisy to the human world so King Koopa could not get the meteorite piece. So they did not want their two dimensions to merge. So Daisy's father wanted to keep Dino Hatton in squalor.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing.
So who's the bad guy again?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's crazy. If you really think about it, yeah. Again, I can't believe we're really thinking about this fucking stupid Mario movie, but yeah, if you really think about it, honestly, King Koopa, he just wanted the best for his people. Makes no sense why Dino Hatton would hate him.
King Koopa did nothing wrong.
King Koopa, he was just trying to do his best. He was just trying to get. Do you think the residents of Dino Hatton were like living in this crime-ridden dystopia, which is filthy, or and they don't have resources? No, I don't think they would. So anyway, Michael, let's conclude. You go first.
Yeah, so, like, overall, yeah, the weirdness of this film, I guess, like, in some sense, like, when a film is so weird, I do struggle to be, like, say it's concretely bad, which I guess seems weird, but, like, I think there are other films, like, this film didn't offend me with its badness, and there was, like, a veneer of kind of mediocrity running through it, where it was, like, there weren't, well, I mean, no, there were markedly bad moments, but whatever. I mean, overall, its main defining feature was being weird. Some of the, I guess, acting was, like, good. Maybe the weirdness in some ways was moderately entertaining. Overall, I think this is probably going to be higher than what you'll give it. I said it was worse than average. I'm going to give it a middling 3. I think you'll probably go lower. But yeah, I'm going to go middling 3.
I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Because I'm looking back at movies I gave a 2. And I think this is perhaps saved by the fact that it's only 100 minutes. So there's just less bad stuff. But that's the thing. It is a very lazy plot. The plot, again, it doesn't like not make sense, but it's just like there's no real plot there, so it's hard for it not to make sense. And yeah, the fact that, again, it's just very uninteresting, it was boring, and the fact that, again, you've taken such a massive departure from the Mario video games in so many ways and created this it's such a weird fucking thing, man. You just can't believe that this movie was made. I can understand why it's a cult classic in some respects, because it's just, you just look back and you think, wow, like, how the hell did this happen? And apparently it's because Nintendo gave creative license to a couple of fucking weirdos who were obsessed with new brutalism and fossil fuels and parodying heavy industry in New York City, which again is so similar to what the Mario video games do. But yeah, like 2.5 out of 10. It's just a load of shit, like I said at the start. Michael, shall we guess what the new Super Mario Brothers movie is going to get on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yes, we should.
Are you ready?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I guess. We'll see.
By the time this movie comes out, I think people will already know what it's gonna do. Right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
60.
65. Okay. So Michael guessed 60. I guess 55. 55. Again, I think it's going to be probably. Like, I can't imagine it's going to be good, because I think it's going to be hard. It's just hard to do a Mario movie in general. But it's going to be better than the 1993 one, which was like 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, you think it's around the same. It's going to be on the edge of like rotten,
Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like teetering on the edge, like a bad good movie. No, a bad fine movie. We'll call it a bad fine movie.
Yeah. Probably below average in general. But I doubt it'll be as bad as the 93 version, which I guess, hey, things are improving for Nintendo. By the way, they didn't make another movie, Nintendo, until Detective Pikachu. And that probably, because of that movie's success, it probably meant that they were like, okay, we can do another Super Mario Brothers movie now. Like, the trauma of the 93 version, we've moved past. We moved past that. Anyway, Michael, what are we doing next time?
Next time, we are doing a kind of different film. It is still about a game, so in that sense, it's very similar. It's He Got Game, which we're celebrating the 25-year anniversary of.
Yes, I would say it's not similar, because this movie is not based on a game. It's based on
that's a good point, actually, yeah.
Mad cracks / mushroom / acid trip experience of these weird writers and directors who never worked again in Hollywood after this. Anyway, so that's been our Super Mario Brothers review. Join us next week for He Got Game. I've been Luke. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.